Index.hu, a news portal that was formative for its era, threatens to disappear. Critical voices are undesirable in Viktor Orban's country. Anyone who visits Hungary's most widely read, previously independent news portal, Index.hu, these days will notice changes. Many of the reports come from the state news agency MTI, and there are no big stories that track down political undesirable developments and alleged corruption processes based on their own research. In fact, the portal has been dragging itself along in a kind of emergency operation since the editor-in-chief, Szabolcs Dul, was fired a week and a half ago under pressure from the owners close to the government. 2 days later, almost the entire 90-strong editorial team submitted the resignation. The employees are still subject to the notice period. They continue to work on a back burner. The owners, meanwhile, are feverishly looking for a new team, but Index.hu will no longer exist in its previous form. It was not just an internet portal, but an institution in the country. Journalists, private individuals and small investors founded it 21 years ago. With linguistic, multimedia and content innovations, it brought a fresh, unspent wind into the hitherto rather sedate Hungarian media landscape. It was also striking that the portal could not be assigned to any of the political camps, the national conservative or left liberal ones. Index.hu researched, uncovered and distributed regardless of which camp the perpetrators and corruptionists belonged to. Economic hardship led to a change in the ownership structure around 2005. Businessmen from the right-wing National Party Fidesz of the then opposition leader Viktor Orban acquired the majority stake in the owner company. For years, they largely respected the portal's independence. But with Orban's election victory in 2010 and further changes in the ownership environment, the pressure of the autonomous editorial team increased. In May 2018, Orban scolded, "Index is a fake news factory." Less than a year later, the businessman Miklos Vasili acquired half of the shares in the owner company. He's considered Orban's man for the rough in media politics. The tone sharpened suddenly. External consultants pressed for the departments to be outsourced from the editorial team, that is, for their organizational destruction. The editor-in-chief Dul resisted, made the plans public and was eventually fired. That was the signal that the other guarantees that guaranteed our independence would also cease to exist, said Tamas Fabian until the dismissal of the portal's parliamentary correspondent. From then on, free work would no longer have been possible. The government of the powerful Prime Minister Viktor Orban resolutely rejects any thought of directing the elimination of Index.hu. Chancellery Minister Gergely Gulyas downplayed the process of a discussion within an editorial office with private owners. The government cannot interfere in anything like this. If it did, freedom of the press would be violated, he said on state radio on Sunday. But the slow death of free media runs like a thread through Orban's 10-year reign. Immediately after taking office in 2010, he degraded the public media to mere mouthpieces for the government. This was done through new media laws passed by Orban's Fidesz majority in parliament. Orban's people later took a more indirect approach. When in 2014 Deutsche Telekom sold the then largest internet portal Origo.hu to investors close to Fidesz under enormous pressure from the Orban government, it was Vasili, the current Index developer, who dismissed the portal's critical editors and converted it into a propaganda tool. In 2016, the country's largest daily newspaper, the left-liberal Nebsza Gazdag, had to close. In this case, the executor was an investor from Austria who was received repeatedly by Orban. In the meantime, all regional newspapers, almost all portals, television and radio stations have been brought together in a foundation that is strictly controlled by Orban confidants. This concentration of over 400 media in one hand would violate competition and media law even in Hungary. Orban has found a backdoor for this too. The foundation, abbreviated as KESMA, has been declared an institute of strategic importance to the nation. According to Hungarian law, it is no longer contestable. And if you now want to know more about European politics from a German point of view, YouTube has chosen another of my videos right here for you on the end screen, right next to your chance to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Click and enjoy. Viel Spaß!